Blunt Cuts is a podcast fueled by creativity, curiosity, and empowerment.
We cut through the daily mess of life. This is unfiltered honesty.
Park your passive at the door. This is Blunt Cuts. Welcome to Blunt Cuts. I'm CJ. And today, please welcome to the studio Lauren VanScoy, founder and maker of Essence One. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you for having me.
It is so awesome to have you here today, talking about something that's really hard to talk about, and that is mental health, and in general our journeys, but how your journey came full circle into like a natural healing branch. So I'm so excited, and I think the more that we are out there and talking about mental health, the better it is for all of us. So
definitely.
Welcome. So let's get started.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our journeys first, kind of with mental health and depression, anxiety, where things came from, manifested.
Sounds good. Well, my journey, I'm sure, started a lot sooner than I realized, but when I actually knew I was going through something was about a year after my second child's birth. And I feel like I just broke down because I didn't know what was going on. I was afraid to go out. Like I would say yes to all of these things. It sounded amazing. And then the day actually came and I would just say, oh, I can't go. So I felt good at home. I felt safe at home. But I wasn't my usual self, just more social. And that was huge for me because being social was a big part of my life. But once that was going on, I just realized I knew it wasn't okay. I knew it wasn't myself. I felt insecure. Facebook was like the worst place I could go, which we all know. And I think we're a little bit more vocal about knowing it's the best parts of our lives usually. But so I just knew something was wrong. So I went to a counselor that my friend pointed me to. And immediately she said, okay, you have major depression manifesting as anxiety, which made sense because I didn't feel necessarily depressed. It was just that anxious feeling of, oh no, having a conversation with one person was hard. I couldn't find the words. So I just kind of avoided it, which wasn't good because my day job was working with huge marching bands who would travel. And we were the person that had to go through like what happened each day. So we'd be up on the front of the bus, and saying, good morning, I'm happy to see you. So that was hard too. But once I figured out what was going on, I just knew I had to make some changes. So part of that was just the lifestyle change that I was in. Eating healthier, exercising, which I'm horrible at, but I do.
Oh, I am so horrible.
I don't like to sweat, so that's not good. But
and I don't think I've ever worked out hard enough to sweat.
So we're on the same page.
Let's work out together.
Let's do this. So just like finding all those different things. That's not just a quick fix. It's not a take a pill or eat well or all these things. So it was also involved getting more natural products in our house. And so I just started to learn how to make my own natural things, started teaching other people how to do it. And then I I got my certification in aromatherapy so that I could explain the science behind all of it and why I identify with scent. So I knew if I smelled something good, it just made me stop and take a deep breath.
Yeah. Well, and those olfactory memories
yes.
too, So
yes.
from my psychology days,
yes, exactly.
It absolutely triggers and smells. And
yep.
Even this morning we walked in and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm having a flashback to church. Like I'm smelling a smell. Those things. Yeah, yep. Scent is a definite trigger.
Mm-hmm. So that's why Essence One is aromatherapy based. But the other reason that I started it was just to keep this conversation going to the first day I started healing was the day I posted it on Facebook, which was not the place to post your issues.
Which is funny that it was such a toxic place for you to be while you're going through things, but it became full circle there too.
Right, that's true. I didn't think about it that way, but that morning I felt like I needed to just be honest. And it's the post that's ever gotten the most interactions. It created more conversation amongst people that I knew that, couldn't believe I was going through this, and I couldn't believe they were going through it, and it just brought that conversation out there to say, what are you doing to help? Or, do you feel like you can get help? Because people they get into this place and you don't know what will help you.
No. And my journey for me, I'm sure, like you said, started much earlier than I realized. I mean, I definitely was an overachiever in school. Home life, my mom was alcoholic and chemically dependent, so I think school was the place where I kind of got some validation that I didn't necessarily get at home all of the time. So I was a total gold star seeker, helped teachers after school, like straight A student, really like focused on overachieving at a young age. I remember 3rd grade producing a play and like having all these things and selling tickets to the like on the playground and like having everyone come in and skipping recess for our play one day. Like I remember these moments of my young self being extremely like wanting that validation and that carried into my teen years of wanting to be validated by others and really parking my own self and just doing things for others, either giving back in the community or like really I kind of focused in there, giving back student government, giving back in the community, like really tried to avoid talking to myself or dealing with any of that. Then came college, and I know we both have the same alma mater, so we went to St. Olaf College. Great school, but definitely immediately there was when I realized, oh boy, like I'm on my own. I'm living with roommates for the first time. I, have never really shared a room, had those experiences. I'm going through all this. I know my brother's home with my mom, who's still, like, not recovered yet, like, feeling all of those feelings, but then had time to overachieve there, but really just generally making through it a day is overachieving at that school. So I definitely lost that straight A student, and that was so hard. That was crushing for me. So I think that's when I first started talking to people, and I went just to a family practice doctor and actually got prescribed Zoloft. Didn't talk about why. Didn't know why, just got pills. Ended up having a horrible reaction and tried to commit suicide. So going through that, I think I was like anti-medicine forever. Like, nope, not gonna do it. So finally got better through like, working with friends, talking about it a little bit more, but then just realizing like, okay, my body cannot do medicine is what I kind of thought. So like I wouldn't even take Advil when I had a headache. Like I just knew like that.
You didn't want to go there.
No, I didn't. So for years and years and years I thought. So after my 2 kids, I went into this sort of extreme manic, and I'm an entrepreneur who's doing a lot of things anyway, right? But I have to check that. And with my therapist, it's more, you're doing so much, you have anxiety, but you're doing so much. What if you didn't do these things? And I'm like, I think I would be absolutely crushed. Try not doing these things. So I stopped. I tried taking a break from all the things that I do and just doing my one like day job, and it was devastating for me. So that took me to a different place in which I started working with a therapist, a different therapist, and my doctor, who work in a collaborative setting.
Oh, good.
MD and therapy collaboratively, and they were, you need to be on the medication. I was like, absolutely not. Like, I'm not doing it again. Like, I have 2 little kids. Like, I'm not going through that again. And they were like, that just wasn't the right medicine for you. So learning through that, I just like, okay, I'll try it again. But like, we gotta really monitor this. Like, I know like what happened. Like, I don't want to go through that again. Like, what else can I do? And so I did also start mixing in more natural, trying to realize what foods were starting to affect my moods, or like alcohol. Definitely saw that like dependency I was starting to overuse. So like cutting back a little bit on those sorts of things, and socially like drinking but not having a glass of wine every night, or half a bottle,
well, I mean, sometimes that still happens.
But there are, but in moderation, right? But I also knew that like I have this history, hereditary history, that I need to like be mindful of. So I just started being really mindful about all of those pieces together, and I think working with the physician and working with the therapist together made me feel confident that, okay, they're putting me on a path.
Yep.
That is the right path. And it helped me through winter.
Perfect.
So I did like a seasonal treatment of that, and then I was like, hey, I want to wean off because we're going to try to have a baby, and I don't like want to really be dependent on this through a pregnancy. And so we did, and simultaneously blunt cuts really started growing.
Yep.
And this platform of blunt cuts has been the best thing for my mental health ever.
Love that. Yeah.
You know, my therapist is like, what are you doing? Are you working through these workbooks? I'm like, no. I mean, I ordered your workbooks, but no. Like, no, I'm not. Like, sorry. I'm going to be honest. I'm not. Yeah. But I'm talking to other women about things that they're passionate about. I'm feeling so passionate being able to have this platform. I'm filling my cup. I'm helping people. Yeah. They're helping people. Yeah. And I'm helping myself. And that is such a revelation and a refreshing, just getting out there and talking about it has been the very best thing that I could have done for my mental health. But we're taught the opposite. Yeah, we're taught I mean, we used to be. Yeah. And so really, truly, like, it has been a journey, and it is a journey every day. And like I don't know. I don't think I had super strong postpartum, but I know that I manic episode into doing 8,000 things, and sometimes that's just so I don't have to confront me and who I am and where I am. So I have to make sure to self-check in and do those things too. Like, and that's not easy. That isn't easy.
It's not. It's really
but
not.
Vowing to come into the studio and be my most authentic self every time we record isn't easy either, but that's the commitment I've made to our community, and that's been the most healing part for me.
I love that. And that's, like, I think that it sounds insane because, you're taught to, I mean, I don't know that we're taught to keep it inside necessarily, but we aren't given the tools to deal with that at a younger age. Like, you don't realize your feelings are valid. You're going through these things, but you don't know where to go, who to talk to, or how to be helped. And I do think, I don't know for sure, but if I had known, and it wasn't like my family covered everything up, but we weren't educated in school. I mean, I would love it if schools educated more.
Yeah, I think it's a really important piece of our health classes. Of our, I mean, if we're talking about sex education and we're bringing these other things in, let's also
talk about self-care.
Talk about self-care.
It sounds self-care. I feel like it was a word. We use it lightly, thinking, oh yeah, go to the spa every day or whatever. Exactly. But it's so much more than that. And I think it seemed to me right away, it seemed like a selfish thing, but really in the end it's not, because taking care of yourself and being in tune with yourself and knowing, hey, I'm doing too much, I need to do less, or I need to go for a run. And I don't run, but like, but I need to do those, right? That works for some people, and they know that, and they take the time to do that instead of thinking, oh, I can't say no to this person because I said, that I would be there, or I need to clean the house, or no, my house is a mess, but that's partly because I know I need to do other things and not worry about a messy house. So,
and that's where focus for me, and I know I've talked about this in other episodes, but really bucketing my focus in the things that fill my cup and fill others' cups, and help me reach and help as many humans as possible. Like, those are the time and energy places. So the other things I just am saying no to. I've stopped saying yes to everything, which is very hard for someone like myself. Yes, because I want to help and I know that I can, but I've had to start saying, if this doesn't fit in my focus areas, nope. Yep. Good job. Then that relieves some time to have some self-care. So.
And your family.
And my family. Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey, and I know it's not easy, but I think we both have had some great growth out of being able to share. So what lessons learned would you give to someone struggling through this right now? And it's not, there's not a cure. No. It's a daily thing. So.
I think the first thing is just, you've got to talk about it with somebody. I mean, I always, email me, or I'm sure you're open to getting
absolutely.
Knowing what people are going through, and even just feeling comfortable talking to somebody about it who maybe has gone through anything similar. It doesn't have to be the exact same situation, but truly talking through it and crying and hugging and, you know, knowing that you're not alone. I think that's the biggest thing, and that it's very, very normal. And so many of us have, if we're not going through it ourselves, it's a family member or a friend, and we want to help. So talk to somebody, reach out to somebody if it's not a counselor or a therapist. Like, those are great too. But, you know, for me in the middle of it, talking to people who were going through the same things helped a lot.
No, so, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And now, like, my check-ins with friends aren't just, how's life, how's the job, how are things going? But it is like, how are you?
Yep.
Like, how's this day feeling? Where are you on your spectrum of, like, we talked about that on our drive-in this morning, Michaela and I, just like, yes. And she's like, I am here, and I don't know, like, where and how. But, like, that's awesome that we, as friends, can be open about that and say, okay, this is where we are. And we're not looking for the other person to fix it. We're looking for them to just know.
Yep.
And, like, it's a validation check-in, but, like, hey, if I am not where I usually am today, now you know why.
Exactly.
You know? And that, I think we need to start doing that more.
Yeah, you need to feel validated, your feelings too. So talking to somebody would have helped too back when I don't think that I realized necessarily that I was going through something when I was younger, but I know some people do. And so Michaela actually found this organization that we're giving back to this year called Bring Change to Mind, and it's a national organization started by Glenn Close. So we're going to get Glenn Close in Minnesota one of these years.
Awesome.
But it gives people like me or companies like me the chance to donate and sponsor a mental health club in the schools. So I can fund the startup. They get, T-shirts and swag and fun things, but also a resource online to see how they can model the club and make sure that they're following some sort of a curriculum. But it's also at their freedom to do it. It's student run. Cool. Yep, they have a counselor involved in every program, but it's student run. And so having students be able to, first of all, just talk to other students that are going through it, but then do things like, they're painting rocks and hiding them throughout the school. And it says, like, hope and, kindness and all of these things that are, no matter what kind of place that you're in, it's just a reminder that there is hope, that we should be, kind, that maybe someone being kind to you that day there's a reason behind that, and that is to help you that day. So being able to kind of go back to that age, I think if I knew how to deal with stress, or I didn't try to be an overachiever, or I knew the balance of just taking care of yourself earlier on, I'd like to think that when we were going through our harder times, at least it would have brought awareness, like what's going on. Talk to somebody about it, or
no. When I went to the hospital, none of my friends, my roommates, nobody knew that I was dealing with anything. Yeah, nobody, and they were absolutely shocked. And I heard that.
Yeah, right. Everybody is shocked,
and thankfully, I am alive and had the opportunity to hear those things,
and to do what you're doing now. I think,
I mean, unbelievable that I could have let all that go.
Yeah, and that something so hard and something so horrible can turn into something so amazing.
No, absolutely. So, my lesson learned in life advice around this is, open yourself, start talking about it, and even if that's finding a few friends that you're comfortable being your most authentic self with. And then eventually, make a podcast and just be authentic to the world. But
or post it on Facebook.
But if you, start somewhere. And open your veil somewhere. Yes. And even if that's with one confiding friend, that is going to help your healing. So.
Yeah, you don't have to be out there like we are, but
But it really does help.
It does help. I love it. I love talking about mental health.
And the more people that I connect with, the more just small this world is.
Really,
and,
truly.
It is a fabulous community of open people. And so, yes, Lauren and I are here as resources forever. So, well, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Where can people find you?
Well, so I have a website. It's essence1.life, Life. Through that, there's an email, or you can just directly email. It's essence1life@gmail.com. I've got products all over the state, all over the country. It's growing. So website you can check out where. Instagram, Facebook, all of that fun stuff. So,
Great.
yeah.
Essence One Life is your tag
Essence
going
One
on
Life.
everywhere.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, let's continue this conversation on
Yes.
Instagram. You can find us at Blunt Cuts Podcast.